The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hello, and let's welcome Kevin Avard, who's running for senator in wards 1, 2, and 5.
Here in Nashua, correct.
As well as a whole bunch of towns west of us.
Hollis, Brookline, Mason Ridge, New Ipswich, Greenville. I think that's it.
Boy, you get everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how's it going? How's your campaign going?
It's going well. We're picking up some steam. We've already run out of signs. We had to order some more. A little plug for John Burt there in Goffstown. He's actually the one who got me interested in TV years ago. But Representative Burt is printing up some signs for me, and we should have a boatload tomorrow. And the requests have been coming up so much that we had to make 2 orders. So, yeah, it's doing well.
Are you getting enough help to, do everything? Pass out the literature or whatever?
We are. We're getting, we have a lot of state reps that are helping out with passing out some of the literature, and some local people from Hollis and Brookline, as far as Ringe and New Ipswich as well. So yeah, we're pretty excited. It's taken a life on its own, and that's when there's a lot of energy that's going on. I think the key is that in this particular election, there are a lot of state reps that are working, like Rosemary Russell, Tom Manzara, Elizabeth in Ward 1 alone. And we have some in 5. We know Dee's a hard worker, and so we have Julie Smith in Ward 2, and I haven't met up with the other one though that I should be working with. But there's an energy that's going on, and we're getting a lot of feedback from folk, and people are nervous.
Okay.
They haven't seen times like this. They're nervous. They're nervous that this angry spirit is going to continue.
Yeah, that seems to be generated all over the place.
Yeah, and the thing is that there's signs everywhere. Well, we're not hateful. We're not hateful. But if you talk about Trump, well, the love isn't being poured out by some of these people. And I'm thinking, well, you say you're not hateful. How tolerant really are you?
It's a shame, yeah. It's a shame that it's generated that way. And but people are, they talk about Trump being racist. He's not racist.
Never has been.
The people that are talking about him are, though, because they're doing what they're accusing him of doing.
It's funny. I had a nice conversation with Ryan Terrell. He's a state rep here in Nashua. And, we're on the same page on a lot of things. And it's refreshing to hear somebody actually pour out the things that are in your gut. And, we talk about it. And he says, when I was a kid, I really didn't experience racism. And he grew up in the South.
Yeah. Louisiana, wasn't it?
I believe so, yeah. And he's a product of charter schools. He was able to go to a charter school. His mom used to drive him from here to Concord, about that distance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was every day. She made sure that he had the opportunity. And he's a good speaker. He's a just well-educated individual. But we were talking, and he said, here I'm appointed by the governor to a position where no qualifications were required.
Right.
As a matter of fact, you shouldn't have any in that particular field, so that there's an outside opinion.
Right.
And Herr Valinsky calls him a token. It's still sinking in.
Well, he's probably the worst one on that side that accuses people of all these actions that he's doing himself.
Yeah, I think the word is projection.
Yeah.
And I learned that word, that you accuse people of what you're really guilty of, and it's a shame. But that actually hoisted him into running for state rep, and we applaud that. The Republican Party really is a big umbrella.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. And the only downside to that is the fact that we really have a lot of independent thinkers in the Republican Party. A lot of people point the fingers, say, well, they're not organized. Well, it's like herding a bunch of cats. We've heard that before. And that's the beauty of our party. But it is very tolerant, you know, and
that's not a bad thing to have, but it's sometimes uncomfortable to have, because you want to really present a combined front on some of the key issues. And I think you have to work together that way. People have to understand that they may have a different view on it, a different way of doing it, but they don't have enough people that feel the same way. Let's get on board with somebody that's closer to us than the real opposition. And they're the ones that are going to kill these ideas.
And dialogue, it's incredibly important. When you come up to Concord and you want to testify on a bill, you walk into the room where you're not necessarily comfortable, but you're passionate about something. And whether you're in the House or you're in the Senate, you sit before a panel of people that you don't know that are in a position of making important decisions for you and for your community. And that's intimidating. But if you take the time to come out of work, to drive up to Concord, sit there and present yourself, not only you have to do public speaking, you're expecting to be heard. And from what I'm understanding right now, listening to a whole host of individuals that go up there, they don't feel as though they're being heard. They may go through the motions, people are nodding their head, giving you a smile, but there's no dialogue. There's no dialogue as well, you know, if we do this, if we add this amendment, or we do this, we can fix it, or we can make this adjustment. That's how it works. And of course, well, if I do this, then it's going to affect these people over here. So what do you propose? Well, add this language. And it's an art. It's an art of building a bridge between opposing and supporting and different views. And I think that's one of the things that we bring to Concord when we get up there. And we've been very successful at that, and working with multiple different people. But when you go up there and there's already this spirit of, this is the way it is, well, why bother? You know, and I think that's, people are very anxious about that, and that I talk with. So anyway, we're running, and we're hoping that the people of Nashua and Hollis and District 12 will bring me back.
Okay.
I think we can bring a spirit of love and a spirit of cooperation up there with us. So,
well, I think your past experience shows that you did work a lot between the groups up there to get some legislation through.
We did,
and I think you've shown the ability to do that. Whereas the legislature up there now, it's black and white. I mean, you can't excuse the image, but you can't.
The fact that you even
respect
have to say that,
the other person.
the fact that you even have to apologize for that is again, it's like, well, that you know what it meant.
Yeah.
It's either our way or the highway.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we want to get up there and we want to work through some issues. I think obviously there's going to be an attempt to increase taxes, and I want to put a hold on that. I think right now, especially with the small businesses that are struggling, there's going to be this temptation. Well, we're lacking revenues or whatever. We need to increase, and that is just the wrong message.
You know, I just had the interview with the governor, and he says it's looking better.
Yeah,
the economy is looking better. We're not going to have as much of a hole as he thought they were going to have.
And that is good news. And I think there's the spirit of optimism. One of the things about I just love this country. I love the state. I love the people in the state. I love the freedom for which it stands for, and I want to preserve that. And I think right now New Hampshire has an opportunity to really kind of shine. You know, within our New England area. We have an opportunity because we don't have a sales tax, income tax, and put a hold on the capital gains. You know, the whole 9 yards. It's let the people keep their money, let them put it back into the economy. We'll adjust. We're flexible. We know how to do it. We've survived how many wars? How many depressions? You know, that's our spirit, and that's what we've got to get back. Not this victim thing. You know, we got to get back into, hey, what's the American ingenuity? You know, let's shine, and I think we have that opportunity.
Well, giving people a choice and allowing us to have a government that can move fast when changes, come about, is a key. I mean, New Hampshire is known for being people's choice in a way, But I think that you have to have a little bit more respect for the other side. That doesn't work. Doesn't seem to work. I mean, it's almost a real savage fight up there now in getting things through, and no communication, no cooperation, as you say, we need.
Yeah, and there, you have to have also the spirit of being able to be taught.
Mm-hmm.
If you go up there as a know-it-all,
Oh,
it just. Or I've got this credential, that credential. Well, that doesn't mean anything. What you have to know is how to listen to people and build bridges.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll keep going back to that because some people, they'll call you and say, hey, can you help me with this? No, I can't, but I know somebody who can. And that, when you connect people into areas that help make their lives better, there's a joy that you get out of that. And you don't get anything in return. You just get the satisfaction knowing that you're doing a good job. And I think I definitely want to bring that back together. And I know that we can work with libertarians, we can work with Republicans, Democrats. You name it. We've been able to have a conversation, and I think people want that. They're tired of the extremes.
Well, what do your voters say to you? What is their biggest concern? Are they worried about this too, or is it something particular issue that they have?
One of the top things that they're talking about right now is the education system. They're worried about it both on the higher learning and, of course, the the kids going back to high school. Will the kids have a senior prom this year?
Yeah,
will they have the education? Are they going to be able to do it online? I just went to Concord to get my haircut because my daughter works at the barbershop up there, and they want to force my grandson to wear a mask all day at school. There's no way I could have done that as a kid. There's just no way, and he's not equipped to do that. Just saying. And he wants to go back to school, but Mom, I'm not wearing a mask. No, you're going to have to wear a mask if you go to school. So there's that dialogue that's going on. And Jaden, he loves the community already. He wants to be playing with all the other kids, and it's a struggle. So that's on the top of their hearts, and of course the virtual learning. So she's considering doing some homeschooling, and she said, "We can do the reading, we can do this, we can do that, but the math." And this blank face comes over her face. What are we going to do? So that's just another issue that she's working with, but. That's across the board. A lot of families.
So education's the big thing right now.
Is critical. Yeah.
When you have a family, obviously that is your high priority, and you have some control over it, but not enough.
Well, one of the things that we want to push when we get back there is we want to really see if we can explore more areas where we can support the charter schools.
Right.
There are a lot of kids that learn differently. And there's an opportunity for the charter schools to flourish. There was $45 million that was set aside from the feds for New Hampshire that we could, inject into the school systems. But Melanie Levesque and the rest of them just shot it down. And I don't think that does anything but serve yourself.
That was the executive council too that really got after that.
Apparently.
Because it was a 3-2 vote. They wouldn't accept it.
And that's another area where folks, you got to just get a little informed about the people who are running. But the charter schools are an important element for our whole overall system. They are public schools. Charter is public school, and they serve different needs of different kids.
Right.
And if you're so fortunate to get your kid into one of those, they'll just explode into learning. And it's an opportunity for kids, especially with no means, to go to a private school. This is a great opportunity for them to get involved. And I think of all things, that helps the kids get out of the slums, gets out of the trappings of falling behind. And we were talking to Ryan again about that. I went to Temple Street School here in Nashua when it was a elementary school, and I swear they just pushed me along. I didn't realize I had a form of dyslexia and a learning disability, and it just seemed as though I was just getting pushed along. And that does something to a kid. When you see other kids excelling, they get the process, you automatically just kind of step back. And then you isolate, and you get in trouble. And that's not healthy. Thank God for Mr. Muse, my 6th grade teacher, by the way. He was an amazing teacher at Temple Street, and he helped turn on the light a little bit with the science.
There's always one good teacher like that.
Well, Mr. Lucas also, Mrs. Hood. If anybody remember them, they were gifted teachers that could help to some degree, and so I think education is really, really important with this campaign. Obviously, putting a hold on spending, and if the economy is turning around, don't stifle it by raising taxes. I think a lot of businesses are very concerned about that. Talking with business owners.
They have to make up for some of those problems where they were just skimping along. They weren't making any money. They were just happy to keep open.
They're surviving.
Yeah, because they had some fixed costs anyway. They had to cover those.
I think one of the other areas where we need to really address, and we tried to do this in the past, but was to somehow lower the education, the healthcare costs.
Right.
And one of the things that we had promoted, or we were pushing in the past, was this whole transparency on the cost of the coverage. If you know that pill is going to be $800, or that operation is going to be this amount or this amount, it just sheds a little light on things, and it actually has a way of controlling the cost a little bit. We also wanted to see if we could, have competition across borders. Right. That's another way to lower costs. The whole idea of competition has always been it lowers the costs. The more people that are playing out there that are working to provide the very same services, the better. And we also tried to, there's a thing called the certificate of need. That was an area where there's a lot of contention within Republicans, Democrats, and there's legitimate concerns. What is a certificate of need? Well, you're allowed so many medical facilities in a particular area, and you have to have a certain distance. Well, if you shorten that distance, that allows more competition to come in, lowering the cost. However, it makes it the existing organizations struggle to make ends meet. So there's a balance, and you have to work with people on areas like that. So healthcare is another issue. I know that the president signed some executive orders with regards to the diabetic prescription too.
A certain prescription type thing.
So those are key. Those are key concerns, and I really think one of the other things that really is really on the top of their hearts as I'm knocking on doors is safety. And I find that odd, but when they see everything that's going on in Oregon,
in other places, happy you're not here.
Yeah.
But can that be us in 6 months or whatever?
Well, some people are saying, well, I'll put your sign on. I'm going to be voting for Trump, but I'm not going to put his sign on because I'm afraid my house is going to get damaged. What is that telling you? That's telling you that people are really nervous. They're nervous about being terrorized. They want to support the police officers because they're doing a good job. Without the police officers, who are you going to call? Who are you going to call? Our police force does a great job. They do. You're not going to call Ghostbusters.
What do they want to do? They want to bring social service in running it,
And it's ludicrous.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous, and it's lawlessness, and it's a form of anarchy. And I don't think people in New Hampshire want that, especially communities that, your dream is, when I was a kid, ride my bike. We ride our bike from Nashua all the way to New Boston. And I remember my very first trek riding through Hollis, New Hampshire. I thought, wow, is this beautiful? What is this beautiful? This is what a dream to go to a place like Hollis, New Hampshire, and build a home and live in a place where just up the street there's some cows, or there's an orchard, or there's a vineyard. That's the American dream. So you want to, go after something like that. And so when you do, somebody says, well, hey, we don't think that's fair. Well, why not? If I worked for it, and I want to live in a safe community. I want to live in a safe neighborhood in Nashua. And part of that is obviously your police force. I think we need to support them. We need to support the fire. Our people that are in our community that are part of our infrastructure, they need to be supported, not demonized. Because once you start doing that, there's no end. I'm going to quote Ryan Terrell again, because he's a very wise young man. I call him a kid. But for every force, there's an equal force on the opposite side. And when you start pushing this way, after a while, other people are going to push the other way, and then you've caused tension and friction. And that isn't bringing America together. I don't care how much you say you're bringing America together. If you're setting one side or you're against another side, saying, well, this person hates you because of the color of your skin or because you're from a different nationality, you're a troublemaker. And you're trying to divide this country. That has to stop.
People not being called out for that either, though.
And they have to be called out for that. Look, love is the answer. Whoever thought John Lennon was a conservative, right? All you need is love. And really, that is the answer. And picking out shortcomings of other people so that you can gain power is wrong. And it's cruel, and it just divides the country, and it sets people apart. And if you're going to make one group angry at the cost of another, you don't belong in office. You don't belong in office. And I think that has to stop. So safety, that's an issue that some of the people are really, really concerned about. And I want to see if we can't bring back New Hampshire the way it was.
Tell us some experiences that you had when you were up there and with working with the opposition, if you will.
Oh, well, I think one of my biggest highlights is when Martha Fuller Clark actually came up to me. Martha Fuller Clark.
A very prominent Democrat who's been up there for quite a while.
And she came up to me after a meeting in science. And I'm not science. I was the chair of energy and fish and game. And there was a heated day. There was a lot of emotion coming up to the day. But one of the things that I made sure everybody had the opportunity to speak, and if we couldn't, then we'd bring them back another day. And she comes up to me and she puts her little hand like this, and she goes, "I like your style." I like your style. To me, that's a trophy.
Yeah.
We'll never agree on 90% of different things,
Right.
but I think when you can show compassion and love and respect for other people, even those that disagree with you, that was good. That was good. And we came together on some energy issues, and I still think we need to fix some of our energy problems as well. Since we left, the rates went up 15%. Bring me back.
You got to control some of those rates. Those electric rates are really the highest in the country, I think.
Yeah. And probably the key to that is understanding why.
Yeah.
And a lot of dependencies on the transmission lines is part of the issue. And to reduce that dependency on the big fat power lines is the key, or one of the keys to many doors to lowering the rates. It's complicated, and
I think
that's an area where you think everybody's on one side, and they're not. There's issues that people will disagree because of subsidies and things of that nature. But
Do you think that the media does a good enough explanation on some of this stuff?
no, they don't even come close.
No.
It's sensationalism all over. They don't get to the key issues, and when you try to, there are so many different forces that block out.
And regulations that go in there, or I guess you might say not laws, but just restrictions that have generated the difference in this. The reason I guess that the governor vetoed the bill is the cost of people who are generating some electricity with solar or whatever versus the standard price.
And that's
bulk.
That's the areas where you have to.
It's more than a factor of two.
Right. But if like the local municipalities could generate their own, like here in Nashua, well, what's wrong with that? Bring it up to 5 megawatts. At least there's one area to lower the draw. That's not a bad idea, and I think that's one area that we could have worked with. But
you don't want to have the excess electricity from solar
going back at twice the price.
At that cost. Let them pay the same price that they do for the regular stuff.
And I think, getting back to the media part, I think that if say the executive council, those meetings were videotaped or streamed live, that would change the effect on things. If our hearings, if somehow we could do it cheaply, so that at least it could be streamed out there live.
Well, they have all these educational channels that every town has, and they should be able to get something like that.
You would think we have some technology to be able to do that. I think that would be something that we can push for. Hopefully, everybody can agree on that. That way, hey, it's out there in the open. You can look for yourself and not have to depend upon somebody filtering that for you. There's a danger in that. So. SenatorAvard.com.
Okay.
Please contact us if you want to sign. Let us know. We're right now we're only in primary season, but if you want to help support the campaign, we'd appreciate that as well.
Well, good luck on your trials and tribulations out there, and hiking. Hopefully, the weather stays favorable for you, knocking on doors and dropping off literature. Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks, Carl. We appreciate you.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.